Sketched it, then I detailed it. So what I'm doing for the purpose of this demo, I'm just going to drop the opacity and do some sketching. But I want to show you some tools first. Basic tools. First being what to make your canvas size. So you're starting out at a canvas. You go File, New. File New here. Let's check it. It's 11 inches by 8 at 200 resolution. That's okay. Create. So we have a new canvas. What I typically like to do is go Command U. We want to make sure it's grayscale. I like to darken it by like 10 or 15% so I could add some white highlights. It's kind of like a little thing that I do. I'm just going to do some freestyle drawing here. I am using SenseLab tablet. And let's go and look at our tools over here. You got your V tool, which is your vector, your marquee, your lasso, your wand, prop, eyedrop, brush, and eraser. Let's just cover those for now. From the eraser up, I think these are the ones that we're going to be using constantly. So you want to hit B on your keyboard, grab your brush here, some brushes over here. I'm going to start just with a simple brush to block out a shape. So let's just do a shape of a face. I'm gonna block this out. All right, if you hold down the Shift button, it'll give you a real straight line. Okay, I'm just gonna keep it loose and I'm just gonna block out. I'm purposely keeping this super simple. What I like to do is make a circle here. Sloppy it is, that's okay. And if I bracket down, what I'm doing right now is I'm hitting my brackets right next to the P and bracket up. Scales it, bracket down, scales it down. Now I get a little more detailed. What I like to do is I'm holding down the Shift button. I like to make this little triangle. I'm going to do a little cartoony face because it's fun. This triangle is really where I can line up the eyes. I'll put an eye there and an eye there. I'll make another triangle and go right down the middle there. I'll do another triangle to create the nose. Shift, I'm holding down Shift, gives me a straight line. Then I can not hold down Shift. Basically that's the nose. I'm gonna hit E and that will bring me to my eraser tool. Now the eraser tool, I'm gonna drop down, you see up here, you have your opacity at 100 and your flow at 100. I'm going to drop the opacity all the way down to 30. I could simply do that by hitting the 3 on the keyboard, or I can use the slider. I like hitting the 3. It's a little more accurate for me. I go 3, brings me right to 30. Bracket up. And I'm going to drop the opacity of the sloppiness so I can focus a little bit more. This is what I like to do. Some people will create a whole different layer and just drop the opacity of that, which you see over here in my layer panel. I can go Control or Command J, duplicate that layer, shut this layer off. V will bring me back to my vector tool, and then I can hit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is something I do all the time. So this is my Photoshop 101. So I'm going to go down to about 20%. I'm going to hit B. Brush. I'm going to create another layer. We're going to label that layer. We're going to call it pencils. I'm going to go to just a charcoal gray. I try never to use black. You can see here on the slider, I try to use like a dark charcoal gray. And I'm just going to go in here and sketch a little tighter now. I have a nice little base. I'm going to keep this really loose, but you can see already for the beginners and for anyone really doing something that they want to be proportional. If you're not going freestyle, you know there's going to be an eye there. There's going to be an eye. I like to make these little dots. The nose is going to be there. The mouth's going to be here. And then as we line up the ear lines up with the nose if it's a straight on, unless it's doing something like this, unless it's tilting. So we are going to put a mark there and a mark there for the ears. Okay, just real simple. and he's actually, this is the hairline looking down a little bit. So we're gonna bring those up. It's okay to move around. So we're gonna put an eyebrow here, one here. We're gonna put in a really simple eye. Let's keep that square. Right? Got that going on, just a little marks here, right? So we got this kind of, we'll make it a little more cartoony. We can make the eyes bigger, but just starting to rough it in. And I'm being purposely loose with everything here because I'm going to knock this down again. The bridge of the nose, what I like to do for the nose is just really create a shadow for it. I'm going to drop this down too. If the flow's at 60%, I'm actually going to drop this pencil down to 50. So what I did there is I hit the 5 on the keyboard and it brought me down to 50 here. So here we go. I'm going to lay in a little fun smile. Decide where I want the hairline, right? It's kind of a straight on shot. If it's cartoony, we can make a skinny neck. If it's realistic, we got to do like a thicker neck, something a little more anatomically correct. But we're just gonna stay on the center line for the purpose of learning the tools here and make a little cartoony neck. I'm not gonna get too fancy. Side of the face here. What I like to do here is create. Now, if I was drawing this from a side view, let's do this real loose. I would basically create the face here, right? We have our triangle E for erase. I'll just push that back, bring it up to like 80% so it does it faster. B for brush. Kind of got this going on here. We know we got the bridge of the nose, we got the mouth, right? We got the chin. Chin comes up, neck, depending on what he's doing. So we got the neck. So what we want to do here is, once we have this side view, I'm going to show you planes of the face. So cheekbone, and this is recessed, it's set in, and the nose comes out. Like, basically, that's what this line is here. We have our cheekbone, and then, you know, our ears line up, nose here. So even though this is side view, I'm going to hit E for erase and knock that back. E for brush, and just, you know, I'm going to fill in just some really quick values, barely touching it. Kind of give you the rough 0. Bring it down to 50. Now, you know, like I said before, if I go to eraser, which is E, and I go to 3, which is 30%, I could just knock this back, right? Or I can make another layer. I'm notorious for hundreds of layers, so I try to minimize my layers unless it's necessary. So what I could do is Command plus, and go in here and select to clean this up a little bit. One ear, jawbone. If they're lean, you're going to see the jawbone. If they're not lean, you're not going to see it as much. The neck comes in here. This one's a little more anatomically correct, not so cartoony, but just keeping it kind of loose. So here's the plane of the eye here. Eyebrow. Have a long face. So we have the side of the head, and then we have our cheekbone, depending where we want the cheekbone, and then the front plane of the face, and then the jaw. So after this, once again, you could erase it and drop it down, do what you want to do. But that's how we draw, basically. So here, I'm gonna hit some she's looking this way. Oh, it's a girl. I guess it's a girl. I'm gonna give her eyelashes then. Boom. Big eyes. A little cartoony. So I kind of have this roughed in. And I'm just using the same brush, just a plain circle brush. You guys can see it's 50% opacity, but since I'm using the tablet, I got a really nice range. I can go from really light to really dark. Really light, just a dusting, and dark. What that's cool is I can just dust in the shadow of the eyes and the bridge of the nose and the nose here. You can see it's starting to come together. Kind of help me with my light source. And then I can go back to 0, which will give me 100% of that brush. And then I can start to darken it in once I'm confident that everything's leveled out. I can fool around with that, and like I said, if I don't like what I came up with, I can shift it and move it. Like here's a cool little trick, because sometimes you want to make things cartoony, and sometimes, well, for me, I'm kind of a jack of all trades, illustrator, designer, but have been mostly a commercial artist because I've had to move in so many different directions, so I could do a wide set of styles, which is good and bad, but I'm glad I have the skill set that I do. It's perfect for teaching, actually. But there you go. So here's a cool trick. I'm going to use my lasso tool, which is L. You guys can see it up over here, lasso, kind of circling it. That's L on the keyboard. Learn your hotkeys. Let's do something with the eyebrows and the eyes. Let's make them bigger, make this a little more cartoony. And what you want to do is Command or Control T, and we're gonna scale them up. Let's see if we hold down Alt button, that does it. So if we hold down the Shift button, that'll allow me to scale them up. That's really what I want to do. Is I want to scale it here, and then I want to scale it a little bit this way, a little bit that way. Okay, so this is an underdrawing. Go B for back to my brush. I know I'm going pretty quick. I'm going to hit that charcoal color again right here. And Option, hold down the Alt or Option key. And I'm going to put that shadow back in. You can see her starting to come together. 50%, get a little shadow in there. We got the lip, the bottom lip, and let's have a little fun here. Alt for some white. I want to make sure she has a chin, even though she's kind of the head's looking down just a little bit. So at this point, B for brush, D will give you your default colors, which is a solid black and a solid white. Drag it down, and there's the chin. Let's give her a nice smile. Bottom lip. There you go. I'm gonna drop this down to 50% and just give her just a little subtle there. And I still want her chin bigger, so here's one thing you can do. You can lasso this, the lasso tool. I am using a tablet. I have all the equipment, but right now I'm into using the tablet. I'm using the Sense Labs tablet. Thing is awesome. And then I'm gonna go E for brush, bracket down. I'm gonna connect these again. Z 0 for 100% opacity. You can see it right when I do this. Watch, 1 is 10%, 0 is 100%. Boom, look at that. Okay, let's bring her jaw down a little bit. Bring the ears up, let's give her a little bigger ears, cartoony, right? Let's line up this jaw, super light. Let's check out the jaw, right? We wanna make sure she's even or symmetrical. And then we can have fun with other shapes and do 3/4, but this is just an example of how we're lining things up. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drop this down. Make sure her nose is lined up, right? I'm gonna drop this down there. Got the neck in, we're gonna have a shadow here. I'm pretty happy with the line work. I'll make her nose a lot more cuter in the next round. what I like to do is a little half circle here, little half circle. Depending on the tilt of her head is depending what we're going to see on the nose. But I typically like to do a little button nose with a nice little shadow here. There's the little space in the lip. Being extra bold with these lines so you guys can see them. So let's back up. Let's look at it. That's what we got. Let's rough in some hair. We want to give her curly hair, long hair. I've been doing straight hair lately, so I want to give her some crazy curly hair. I'm going to drop that down to 50%, 60% flow. This is going to help me. I try not to go too dark until I absolutely commit. So we're gonna give her a cute hair bob here, right? I'm just having fun right now. I'm gonna rack it up. I'm gonna just lay in some values here so you can kind of see her hairline. Guys, you can tell I'm just kind of laying this down. I'm gonna go E for eraser. I'm gonna bracket down, and I'm gonna go to 0 because I'm gonna cut into it. I'm using a lot of pressure on the pen right now, so I can cut into it. Kind of blocked it out. I wanted to give her like a bob do there, haircut. I guess that's what it's called. Let's get some darker color in there, and there you go. Be darkest here and here. Ears gonna be dark. It's behind her ears. We could even cover her ears if we want to. So shadow, eye, shadow here, shadow here. Pretty much how you do it. Let's darken in those eyebrows. Made a fun little face. Now I can get this layer, turn this layer off, and go to pencils. Now here's the cool thing. V, I could drop it down to 50%, 10%, 20%. Let's go 30%, 40%. Create a new layer. I'm going to call this top pencils. Let's go a little bit closer on it, which is Command plus plus. Command plus plus. Spacebar for the hand. See that? When I hit the spacebar, it allows me to move the canvas around. Really easy. Spacebar, boom. B for brush. Spacebar to move. R for rotate. You can rotate the canvas. Let's get a nice thick to thin brush in here. Same brush. I just have a nice thick to thin setting. Let's just do an eye. Happy little eye. Joy of art. Just in that way. I'll keep it loose. Like that. You know, if we want to even go more, we can make the eyes even bigger. So there you go. Like so. Start to define the nose. Take a little more time. Soft lines until you're ready to commit. Gotta know when you're ready to commit. So what I usually like to do. Cancel. Sorry about that. I keep hitting the Windows key. We're gonna go to this layer. We're gonna go to pencils here. This layer. V. I'm gonna go really light on it so you guys can see. It's fun to clean up the artwork. So I'm gonna put a nice crazy eyebrow here. Right. And here it's pretty symmetrical. This is a more mechanical way until you get the hang of it, but it's a way to be sure that your stuff's going to be symmetrical. And then during this stage, you could kind of put your own little artistic flavor into it and loosen it up a little bit. Make some quicker draw lines. It's okay to see nice sketchy lines, you know. Clean it up. Make sure that we're lined up with the ears, all that. And then there you go. Right here. Boom. Made a little cast here on the eye. cute little nose, little button nose. And drop this out, start to see it come together, right? Smile. Cheek there. Go back to the broad brush. So this brush is one size, this brush is with pressure, thick to thin. So big difference between the two. I'm going to go back to my broad brush with 30% opacity and just kind of lay in some value. Kind of see that value I'm laying in here. Going to help me structure my final rendering. Darken those eyes up a little bit. We could always come back and add white. My ears will be pushed back. And let's say the light source is here. I'm gonna cast some shadow on this side of the face. And there you have it.
www.silasbeats.info